Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Male Gynecologist. We're going to just make this one kind of short and sweet and a little bit personal because I get asked this question a lot. And as a lot of you know that follow me on Instagram at Sean Tessone MD, every Saturday I do a Q&A and you can ask me pretty much any question you want. I can't really answer, obviously, medical advice, but I'll answer questions about the actual hormones themselves and things like that. Um, but I get asked the question a lot, how do I work with you? How do I, get that started? What do you do? What's the process? And so I kind of wanted to just spell it out, like what that involves. I get asked almost weekly um, where I'm licensed and things like that. So first of all, what I want to do before I get too far into all of this is to mention the states where I'm currently licensed. And the reason being is I am licensed in about 25 states right now, currently working on California and New York. And there is this consortium of states called the IMLCC, and those states all have agreed that if you have a license in one state, then you just have to fill out this little application, and you can get licensed in any of the other states that are a part of that consortium. Unfortunately, California, New York, Pennsylvania are not part of that, and we have a large amount of people in those states, even Florida. So I'm working on California and I'm working on New York. Hopefully, those will come in line by the springtime, and I will be the first one to happily announce when they both are online. Currently, I am licensed in Arizona, Alabama, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New Hampshire. Those three were out of order. Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Utah, Washington, and Wisconsin. If I have a license in one of those states, then you can call 512-956-0296 and I can see you. And what we'll do is a telehealth visit. Now, when you call the office, what's going to happen is the following. Mina or Maddie or Eliza are going to answer the phone. They're going to tell you, they're going to ask you questions to get you registered, and then they're going to order labs. Now, what I normally do is I'll order the labs at a LabCorp, Quest, clinical pathology lab, somewhere in that area, or those companies, and we will send it to your insurance. Now, I personally don't take insurance, but I can still order your labs through your insurance. So there's the benefit there. I talk a lot about how sometimes these providers who push the urine testing and salivary testing, it's because they don't have an MD or a DO and they can't order labs. PAs and NPs can order labs. But if they push those other tests on you, it's because they don't have the licensing to order the actual blood tests. And there's really no reason for not doing blood. Blood is covered by insurance. The results are accurate and they're quick. Whereas urine and saliva cost a lot and they take a while to get those results back. But what we'll order is an estradiol, progesterone, free and total testosterone with sex hormone binding globulin. I'll order a DHEA, vitamin D, a TSH, a free T3, free T4, thyroid peroxidase antibodies. Now, those are the basic lab sets. Now, if you're also working with me to lose some weight and we've got you on any sort of medication, whether it's metformin or a GLP-1 like tirzepatide or semaglutide, then I will order insulin, hemoglobin A1C, and a comprehensive metabolic profile just to make sure kidney and liver and all that works well. So what happens is we get these labs, we order them, you go get the lab work done, and then you call the office when you get the lab work done. Mina's then going to make you an appointment. So prior to the appointment, my online system will ask you to check in, and then you and I will meet basically over a Zoom-like phone call. It's not technically Zoom. It's part of my EMR system. And barring any sort of audio-visual catastrophes, we will meet online. And I usually will ask, how you found me, why you found me, what made you reach out, and listen to what's going on with you. Doesn't really matter your age. I've seen women as young as 13 for hormones. I've seen women into their 70s. So there's really no age limit. It's really what you want to do and what seems important to you. Based on the results, I'm going to make some recommendations. Now, that could be a spiritual practice, could be hormones, obviously, nutrition, exercise, proper supplementation. Really depends on your archetype. Now, any of you that are familiar with my work and my book, The Hormone Balance Bible, that you can get on Amazon, know that I have 12 hormonal archetypes that you could fall into. And each of those archetypes has a healing system that includes a Shines protocol. And the Shines protocol are those 6 steps that I just mentioned. So we'll come up with a plan. And then what I'll usually do is I'll meet with you in about 5 to 6 weeks after that initial appointment just to see how everything went. We might draw labs again. We most likely will not, because what I can do is, based on my knowledge of the hormonal system and how you present with your symptoms, I will change the dosages around. And it might be that we go up on progesterone, we change thyroid, we go up or down on testosterone, or we change the route of delivery from topical creams to sublingual lozenges. Then, if I don't get it right, then we'll go ahead and order the labs again to see what's going on. The only hormone that we can't really check through blood very well is cortisol. So with cortisol, what we do is, that's when I might recommend you do a salivary test that you can buy on Amazon for about $120, or you can do a Dutch panel, which is about $350. Unfortunately, that one is more expensive. Checks all the sex hormones that I just went through, but it also checks the detoxification pathways. It checks cortisol, it checks melatonin, organic acids testing. So there's a lot of different options that can come through on those tests, but they're more expensive and they take about 3 to 4 weeks to return. So based on how you feel, if you're like, man, this feels great, then what I'll do at that 6-week follow-up is say, okay, you have enough hormone refills to get you through 6 months. At the end of that 6 months, when you fill the last refill, if you're still feeling great, then you call me and I'll just refill them for another 6 months, because we only have to see each other once a year. I can only prescribe testosterone for 6-month increments because it's a controlled substance, and that's just the rules. But at the end of that 6 months, I don't require a visit unless you feel like you need a visit or you want to check hormone levels or something along those lines. If for some reason after that second change, if you're still not feeling well and you reach out to me through the patient portal, we might want to do blood testing again. And I would probably say it's 50-50. Half of women check, half don't, because they do great. I will say the harder cases to manage are going to be the perimenopausal women, simply because in perimenopause, things are going up and down. And you might have to make changes more frequently than a woman that's actually in full-blown menopause, because her hormones don't really change. And so usually I can get you feeling pretty good right away, and it will stay that way unless something happens, like absorption shifts or something along those lines. And really, that's kind of how we do things. Same thing then applies once I get you to a stable dose. We will decide if you're good to go or if you need any further follow-up. At that point, I refill the prescription for 6 months, and then at the end of the 6 months, when you go to get the refill, you call the office and I'll refill it for 6 months, so you're good for a year. And if anything changes in between those visits, then you let me know and we'll go ahead and we'll order labs again or whatever needs to be done. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And occasionally I'll have a woman call me that might have spotting or breast tenderness or something along those lines, and I'll order an ultrasound. those will come back to me. I can order ultrasounds anywhere in those states that I'm licensed. So realistically, it's not something where you have to see me constantly. And we're going to evolve into a membership model eventually where you pay a yearly sum and you'll have unlimited visits and you'll have unlimited access and things of that nature. But right now I'm doing what's called a fee for service, where it's just a set price. You call the office, we get you registered, you pay that fee for service for the day, and then I see you. There is no ongoing charges. I don't charge for messages. I don't charge for prescriptions and things like that. So that's for a hormone visit. I also have a program that I've developed whereby women are losing weight, and I'm using subcutaneous tirzepatide, which is compounded. I have to see you at that program every 2 months. At those 2-month visits, we'll talk about the medications, we'll draw some labs, make sure everything looks okay. And then from there, based on your weight loss, decide if you need to go up on the dose or stay steady or anything along that nature. And then every other month, when you're not seeing me, you just call the office and tell them your weight, and they'll tell me, and then I'll decide if I think you need to go up on your dose or stay the same based on your weight loss. I like to see weight loss about 4 to 8 pounds a month. That's 1 to 2 a week. I think that's pretty steady. That's pretty sustainable. And making those changes, I might refer out to some sort of holistic health coach or something along those lines. So basically, 2 main appointments. I also do lots of Essure removals. Obviously, if you have Essure, which is a permanent birth control that was placed inside fallopian tubes that cause scarring and inflammation and all kinds of things. I've removed about 1,200 sets of those. They were pulled from the market in 2018 by the manufacturing company Bayer, who subsequently has settled a $1.6 billion lawsuit for harm and injury, although they admitted no wrong. But there you have that. So hormone visits, Essure visits, weight loss visits, and then I'll also see patients for endometriosis, whether they're post-op or fibroids. And again, trying to come up with an integrative healthcare plan that you can, use supplements, we'll balance out the hormones, we'll give nutritional advice, things like that. So I pretty much see everything. I see women also for annual exams, where we talk about mammograms, we do a pelvic exam, breast exam, talk about general health goals, things like that. So all kinds of visits. I just wanted to touch bases on this because I get this question almost weekly, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to reach out, 512-956-0296. If you'd like to get an appointment, I don't take insurance, but we will give you the paperwork so that you can file insurance papers to your company, and they will usually reimburse you as though I am out of network. I try to keep the visits at a minimum so that you're not spending a lot of money. I try to make it as affordable as possible, but obviously one of the reasons that I switched from insurance over to cash was just because as a solo practitioner and taking insurance rates, which are about 1/4 of what I get paid or what I bill the insurance company, it comes out to, it was just struggling to pay the bills. So I had to switch to a cash-based model, and it's been working out really well. I can spend as much time as needed with patients because I'm not as busy as I used to be, and everything seems to work out for those involved. So to recap, if you need an appointment, if you want an appointment, call the office at 512-956-0296. Mina, Maddie, and Eliza will answer the phones. They'll get you set up. We'll order the labs. You and I will meet on the phone and we'll come up with a plan. This was kind of a down and dirty as to how to make an appointment. And I will say, if I were you, I would get established with my practice. If you're wanting to do it now, because once California hits, I have a feeling that I'm going to get super busy because there's hundreds and hundreds of women that have been waiting from California because they can't seem to get the help that they need. So make your appointments now. call the office, 512-956-0296. I'd be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a short episode, but it was just something I wanted to get out there for the masses so that they could call and get started on their health and hormonal journey. This is Dr. Tessone. Have a great rest of your week and weekend.